Hey folks, welcome back. Today, Renegade revealed the Secrets of the Citadel figures that are upcoming for I think it's a July 2026 release here for the game of Heroscape, so I wanted to go through and talk about them. Last time I did one of these videos, it was a really time-intensive process, and I think I ultimately over-engineered it, kind of over-edited it. So this time through, I wanted to do a little bit more just spur of the moment, off the cuff sort of thing. And in order to help myself prepare for that, I decided to completely ignore emails and Discord surrounding Heroscape. I haven't checked the Heroscape Discord in about a week here, so I didn't want to get anything spoiled for me ahead of time. I don't want to know anyone else's thoughts right now. I'm just going to give you my unfiltered opinions on these cards. So hopefully you want to see that. I don't know. Let me know. Anywho, to provide some structure to this video, I've come up with a short list of things I liked and things I didn't like, and I want to go through that first before we get to the figures individually. One of the first things revealed during this live stream was the creation of new alliances. Basically, new pacts have been formed amongst the generals, and they've split off, they've paired off here, and there's 4 new factions. The first one is simply called the New Alliance, and it's between Jeanne D'arc and Utgar. And I know, unlikely bedfellows, right? But as we learned previously, Leviatech basically led a coup to take control of Utgar, and she is allied with Raylan, who speaks for Jeanne D'arc, and the two of them have kind of led what were once fierce enemies into one new alliance, for lack of a better term. The second new faction, called the Umbral Covenant, love that name, is between Vidar and Revna. The third faction, called the Clockwork Combine, is formed between Einar and Volrac. And the final faction, the Verdant Pact, is between Ular and Aquila. Now, personally, I really like this idea. I think it's a great way to shake up the power dynamics between the generals, and it's a fantastic way to keep them all relevant. There was a real risk there for a while with some of the more legacy generals becoming irrelevant. We kind of saw it during the HasLab campaign years, or year there, right, where we had generals like Ular and Einar hardly represented at all. And I really feared that Renegade was going to just favor Volrac and Revna exclusively at the expense of, the legacy generals, the big 5 that started it all. And I'm very pleased to see that that's not going to be the case here. In addition, I really like how this new concept borrows ideas from that HasLab campaign. Like the Clockwork Combine, that was an idea that came up way back when, but I didn't like it then because it was kind of a way to undermine the Valkyrie generals. The way that I understood it was that there were these sub-factions that kind of crossed general lines, and the Clockwork Combine was made up of different figures and army cards from different generals, Dawn Raider Syndicate, something like that as well too. And I didn't like the way that it was basically undermining the Valkyrie general system. To me, it felt superfluous. It was like, well, why even bother assigning those cards to Valkyrie generals if you're just going to undermine the whole concept? So here they've taken that idea and they've allowed it to embrace the idea, or embrace the heritage of these army cards, right? The Valkyrie generals are much more involved in this process now, and it's no longer a sub-faction, it's a name of a new alliance between two generals. It's just, these two generals are now teaming up. And I think that's cool. I think it's the perfect solution. You get to keep the idea of having named alliances, named groups, but you also get to respect the Valkyrie generals that they hail from. Additionally, I also really like the way that it shifts the balance of power around, because back in Classic Scape, it was really everybody versus Utgar for a lot of the time, right? It was just Jeanne D'arc teaming up with Ular, teaming up with Einar sometimes, and Vidar sometimes, and this just kind of got old, after a while. It was just good versus evil. I don't know. I think there's something more you can do with Heroscape, and I'm glad Renegade is trying to mix it up a little bit here. I also like that the Jeanne D'arc alliance, as shaky and weird as that one is thematically, I'm glad it pays off a story idea, right? I'm glad that they're doing something with the idea that Leviatech is now in control of Utgar. Like, that actually is having a significant impact on the future of that faction going forward. So, I don't know. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what they do with it. The other pairings make a lot of sense, you know. Alar and Aquila that's a no-brainer right there. They were basically copying each other's homework already. So yeah, that one makes sense. Einar and Valorak, both like imposing order. Love it. Really good. And then Revna and Vidar, both kind of pulling strings from the background. Yeah, I think it's good. I like a lot of this. So the second point on my list is the pricing and, you know, packaging, the distribution of the product. At least it seemed like to me that these prices seem a lot lower than they have been before. Even if there's maybe less figures in each individual set, it still allows more piecemeal approaches to the game, right? Like more entry-level stuff. You don't have to spend so much money all in one go, and I like that. I think that's a positive direction for the future of the game. Renegade's also made comments about reducing the prices for future releases as well too. It was all affected by tariffs, you know, the situation down there is so yeah, anywho, I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, the company kind of emerge from this kind of turbulent time, and hopefully they'll have, you know, some spring in their step, the wind at their back, that sort of thing. The third point on my list here is old characters returning. We get to see Sudema, Guilty McCreech, there's even Concan in here, like just crazy stuff. Isamu. It's nice to see that. I'm glad they don't go overboard with it. I think it would be kind of lousy if it was just all returning characters, like all these characters were old characters. That'd be kind of lousy. But I think they're hitting a pretty good balance here. I know for a lot of like OG fans like myself, like we already have all the old stuff. I get that. And I can totally understand if some folks out there are like, I don't want, you know, redos of all the old characters. I want new stuff, right? I have all the old characters already. But I think for a lot of new fans of Heroscape, it's a good way to get their hands on these important characters to the game, right? You don't have to go track down like a Wave 4 Heroes pack to get your Sudema now, right? You can just get it out of the new battle box. And like, I mean, I love that decision. I should have put that as one of my bullet points here. Sudema in the battle box, just A+. Love it. Actually, just the very existence of a battle box for Secrets of the Citadel, like that's huge. I really didn't expect that to happen. I thought it was going to be a master set. I think that's what everyone was kind of hypothesizing here, is that all of these figures would be included in a new master set. But I prefer this direction, honestly. I think it's better to have smaller, you know, piecemeal, like I said, approaches to the game. I just think that's great. And having a battle box for Secrets of the Citadel, I think is important, especially for someone like me, because I'm kind of a no Joe sort of guy. And I was really, really concerned that the only new battle box, like the only new way people were going to have to experience Heroscape was through a licensed IP like G.I. Joe. So the fact that they're keeping a non-licensed battle box option on the market, you know, there's going to be a few months in between there where you know, there's no overlap, but as soon as this one comes out, all of a sudden I can start recommending people to go get this one, get Secrets of the Citadel, or I guess if you're a G.I. Joe fan, go get the G.I. Joe one, but you know, you know how our Slugger feels about licensed IPs taking over his favorite things, so... The fourth point on my list is historic figures, and I don't mean that as legacy characters returning, I mean real characters from history, from Earth's history. That's one of the three pillars of Heroscape, and we're finally seeing it represented again in a significant way, which is great. Now we just need squad figures, right? We need some common squads that are historic as well too. We need some knights and some, I don't know, like some bowmen, like so many cool things you can do with that. You know, the world's your oyster. The fifth point on my list is low-cost heroes, and I don't just mean monetary cost, I mean point cost in this case. There are quite a few low-cost heroes I noticed here, and that's actually something that I felt Contemporary Scape was really lacking, so it's nice to see some more filler options kind of, fill out the ranks. Kind of related, but as a separate point here, point number 6 on my list is Simple Scape. I just love seeing Simple Scape represented. So there are some complexities coming up in some of these figures. Boy, howdy, are there ever. But just finding a couple of them that have only a single power, maybe a couple of powers, that's what I like to see from Heroscape. Yeah, just keep it coming, keep it coming. Okay, speaking of complexities, let's go over to the list of things that I didn't like that I saw. And it's a shorter list, but top of the list here is multi-class army cards. This was an idea that they kind of tested the waters with Thorman, and I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. I gotta be honest, I just don't like this idea. I can understand why, from a game design perspective, it would be convenient and advantageous to design figures with multiple classes tied to their card, but I just feel it kind of undermines the system somewhat, and it leads to very complex synergy webs. You gotta start considering so many different things when you have an army card with multiple classes assigned to it. Now, for some players, I know that's going to be a huge plus. They're going to look at that and say, oh my goodness, sign me up. I love the complexity of it. And I personally also enjoy a lot of complex Heroscape. When I say I like Simple Scape, I kind of mean I like that for the direction of the game. Like, I want the game to stay more simple because I think it's better for the health of the game. It's better for new players. It's better for casual players, the core fan base of Heroscape, right? But I personally like building really complex things that have, synergy webs all tangled throughout them, that have difficult order marker management, I like that stuff. So, this does somewhat appeal to me. However, I have to say that I just feel like it's going to add wrinkles into the army construction process that, now there's just another layer, an extra layer that you'll have to talk new players through, especially that some of these figures are included in the battle box. So this is going to be in the hands of brand new players to the game. And I don't know. I don't think there's enough of a benefit here to warrant, undermining the class system that was already inherent in Heroscape. I also think it just kind of, betrays a little bit of the flavor of the card as well. I definitely preferred it when you had to summarize all the aspects of the figure basically under one title. Are they a knight? Are they a champion? Are they a samurai? Are they a lawman, right? Rather than kind of combining multiple together. I'm just not a big fan. I don't like this change. I think to me it kind of feels like let's say a hypothetical scenario where you have an army card that has 2 generals listed on it, right? Like, this is an Einar card, but it's also a Jeanne D'arc card. And while, yes, that might open up some interesting synergies, it also just kind of undermines the system that we already had in place, right? Every card has one general, or is supposed to have a general listed on it. So I'm just not a big fan. I don't really like, multi-life commons or multi-life squad figures. That's one thing. That's just like putting a wound marker on the map, right, as you're playing. This is kind of a different thing. I don't know. I think it kind of just undermines the system in play, and that's what's getting to me here. I don't know what's next. Multi-personality cards, right? Multi-species cards. Where do you draw the line with that sort of stuff? You can just, can tune the complexity of these cards into, infinity, essentially. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that from Heroscape. This reminds me a lot of some of those, later Yu-Gi-Oh cards that, it's an effect monster card, but it says in the text, you can treat this as a normal monster as long as it's face up on the field, or yada, 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 right? It's something on the card itself that changes, what the card actually is, and I don't know. It just feels weird. Like I said at the beginning, though, you're getting a bunch of, unfiltered, kind of knee-jerk reactions from me here in this video, so I don't know. Hopefully my mind will change over time and I'll grow to like this sort of concept. Maybe let me know what you like about it. If you're a fan of the concept, let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear. So looking at my notes here, my number 2 point was complicated synergy webs, which I feel like is directly linked to the first point I just made. So we'll just brush past that, move on to point number 3 here, which is the new website, oddly enough. Now, I'm sure a lot of work went into it, but my initial reaction to the website was kind of, I don't know, lukewarm, maybe even negative. I just feel like it's missing a lot of the character of the old website. This new one's kind of like sterile. Like it's missing some of the personality behind it. Now the functionality is good. Like I've been enjoying, perusing the figure bios and whatnot. It's a little bit easier to get to the products. You don't have to add them to your cart and then click on them from the cart anymore. Like I always had to do that in order to look at the the products themselves. So yeah, it's more streamlined. It's definitely an improvement from a user experience in all ways except, I feel, aesthetics, right? So I think they can work on sprucing it up a little bit. Visually, it looks like a downgrade, I suppose is what I'm trying to say. Maybe if under the hood it's an upgrade, it just doesn't present itself as an upgrade right now. Yeah, they could just do so much more with this website if they want it to be like the true new home of Heroscape. So I think that's basically all the general stuff out of the way. We should probably get to the cards now. But before we do, I wanted to mention here that this Renegade reveal stream was noticeably more subdued, I want to say, than their previous ones that they've had. At least the last two. The last two have been like just so many things revealed. It's been like crazy, just this and that and this and that. And like, yes, that's exciting in the moment, but it's also a little daunting. And it doesn't give you as much time to appreciate the stuff that you're seeing. At least that's my opinion. That's what I have felt, because you're just bombarded with so much new stuff. Yeah, and they often announce it so far out into the future that you don't have time to even appreciate the stuff that's releasing right now because you're thinking about what's coming out later. And yeah, I definitely noticed a visible lack of, or a visible sign of restraint, I should say here. Yeah, they were definitely holding back. I know they've got more stuff that they could show us right now, but I appreciate them not showing us, right? Just give us the stuff for the summer, right? And these are all figures that they had kind of teased more or less earlier. We'd seen, the miniatures and stuff like that for these figures, allowing us to speculate on what they might be. And now they're just kind of revealing the cards and being like, okay, this is what it looks like. This is what the game's going to look like in the summer of 2026. And yeah, I appreciate that. So now let's dive into the army card reveals. The way I want to structure this is I want to go through based on how they are being released, right? I think there's about 16 or so new figures here, so we'll just kind of jump through the cards. I don't want to spend a ton of time on each of them. I haven't play tested any of these cards. I really haven't spent much time at all looking at these figures. What you're going to hear is probably a lot of my first impressions of the cards even. So I don't know, maybe that's interesting. Hopefully that's going to be engaging to hear. Starting with the brand new Secrets of the Citadel battle box, I want to take a look at Sudema first and foremost. Maybe the figure I'm most excited for right here. I love that they're bringing Sudema back. I love her new sculpt. I think she might be one of the only retreads they've done that actually improves the look of the figure. Yeah, I just think it's awesome. So she's got a lot of really cool things going for her here. There's this petrifying glare thing, which kind of returns to her stare of stone or whatever that she had before, and it's just a much easier to understand power here, and I like how it's been reduced in its strength. I know that might seem wrong to say, right, because her old ability was so terrifying. You could just knock out any hero with a 17 or higher, but it just made her such a swingy card. This one just being capped at only taking a wound on a 9 or higher for squad figures or hero figures is good. I think it's a positive change. It just gives her basically like a little mini dragon swoop, like from original Sonlin. So any figure within 5 clear sight spaces, you roll a 9 or higher, they take a wound. That's great, right? She can affect big things, small things, get past tough defenses, just do a little bit of extra damage. That's awesome. Her other power, though, I gotta say I'm not really a fan of, or at least I'm less a fan of it. It seems pretty fiddly, to be honest. So, it's Queen of the Crypt. After revealing an order marker on and before taking a turn with Sudema, you may take a turn with another undead or Iceneck hero you control that is on a shadow space or within 5 clear sight spaces. So it's kind of like this conditional bonding thing. Getting more order markers, like more turn activation out of, your order marker here, that's always a positive thing from a gameplay perspective. But like I said, it feels really fiddly. So it has to be an undead or Iceneck hero you control that's within 5 clear sight spaces or is on a shadow space. That seems like such a weird thing to add in there. I know it's linked to some other power on a different card, but just strange. If you do not, you may instead take a turn with an undead or Iceneck unique squad you control. Kind of a strange stipulation there too. Sudema's no longer just like a solo standalone hero that you can just kind of splash into your army. Now she kind of needs like a little bit more support for you to get the full power out of her abilities here, right? Like you need to draft her with undead or with Iceneck figures. So at the very least, the Wraith Riders. And maybe that's a powerful combination, right? 90 points, 110 points over here, 200 points in your army. I don't know, that could be a really good 1-2 punch. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that power. I think that power could have been left off the card and she would have been fine. One of the best things they did, however, is they addressed the stat block. More than anything, I feel like the original Sudema, the problem with that figure was the stat block. It wasn't something to do with her cost. It wasn't something to do with the power. It was the stat block. She was just too weak and frail to be worth putting order markers on, and like her power made her too big of a threat, and her stat block couldn't back up the threat that she was. Whereas this one, they've kind of nerfed the power and they've boosted the stat block. Like she's received quite a significant buff here from the stat department, an extra life, extra attack, and a ranged attack on top of that. Like that's just excellent. So she's got a lot more to work with now. And I can't wait to play her. I think she's going to be a lot of fun. The next figure I want to look at here is Agent SI4X, or Syax maybe? I think I'll just call him Syax for now. So Agent Syax, a Soulborg agent. Love that concept. That's really cool. And tricky, of course. Also for Vidar. I didn't go through the stuff for Sudema, but she's the same on the left-hand side of her card. This one's got an interesting stat block. I didn't know what to make of it at first. So 3 life, which is pretty rare for life scores, honestly. 6 moves, so pretty quick. Range of 5, which really surprised me because I was looking at the mini. I was like, where's the range attack? I don't understand. But it looks like he's got like a harpoon launcher or something out of the one hand there. And then only 2 attack, but 5 defense. Yeah, it was just kind of like my first reaction upon seeing that stat block was like, that stat block doesn't really match the figure. I don't understand what's going on here. But I started reading through some of the cards, some of the powers on it, and it started to make a little bit more sense. So we'll go through them here. Obfuscation Matrix. Syax space and all spaces within one of Syax are considered to be shadow spaces in addition to other terrain types, which is neat. So basically, he's granting +1 defense to himself and all other figures around him, I think. That seems like really strong, because that basically means he's got 6 defense at all times. So, am I misunderstanding that? Someone can fill me in. That's like a little mini, Thorgrim, from the original Rise of the Valkyrie. He had a similar sort of boosting power, +1 defense to every figure around him. So yeah, cool. Phantom Protocols references the Revna-Vidar alliance. Here, the Umbral Covenant, the coolest of the alliances, of course. Revna and Vidar figures you control that start their movement on a shadow space can move through all figures and do not take leaving engagement attacks during that movement. Pretty neat sort of passive ability to your entire team, or at least all the Revna and Vidar figures you control. Basically gives them Phantom Walk when they start on a shadow space. So that's kind of neat. And Shadow Assassin down here at the bottom, while Saïx is attacking a hero or squad figure that is on a shadow tile, all skulls in the attack roll count for 1 additional skull. So he can assassinate your opponent's figures a little bit easier if they are standing in a shadow space, which they're going to want to stand on a shadow tile, right? So there's that. I just realized it calls them shadow tiles here, and then it calls them shadow spaces on Obfuscation Matrix. Is there a difference between those? I think a shadow tile is just a shadow tile, right? Shadow space is a shadow tile, right? They're the same thing. So kind of confused why the 2 different terminologies were used there. So the way I see this working then is that when Saïx attacks like an adjacent figure, they'll get that double skull ability basically, because adjacent figures are considered to be standing on shadow spaces because of Obfuscation Matrix, right? So yeah, that gives you a little bit of an incentive to attack an adjacent figure. You are, of course, giving them +1 defense, though, right? Against the attack. So kind of a little bit of risk reward there. 2 attack is not very much to work with, that's for sure. So yeah, I'm not quite getting what I'm supposed to do with this guy just yet. But for 80 points, it's not bad. Getting the ability to, create your own shadow tiles, like moving shadow tiles around. Like, I kind of feel like this is just a bit more like of a cheerleader figure more than anything else. But yeah, maybe there's something else I'm missing here. Let me know. Next up, we have Nishi Suta from Einar. This is a historical figure making an appearance here, and I love to see it. I don't love seeing 4 abilities on the card, though. Oh my goodness. Let's get to them. Oh, and we're a lawman and samurai, so dual class Einar figure with 4 abilities on the card. Man, this is like the monkey paw, like curling finger here. I asked for a historical figure, and here it comes, and it's one of the most complicated cards we've ever seen. All right, well, let's see. Looks like the first one here is just general bonding, like just basic bonding with a samurai hero. That's awesome. Love to see just basic bonding. Okay, cool. That's good. We're off to a good start. Call for backup after revealing an order marker on and taking a turn with Suta. If he is within 5 clear sight spaces of an enemy figure, you may take a turn with another lawman hero you control that has not activated this player turn. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess, yeah, okay, so kind of like a reverse bonding sort of thing, right? So you can chain a bunch of figures off of this guy. Interesting, right? Because with your first reveal of an order marker, before you take a turn with Nishi, you use a different samurai hero you control, all right? And then after you do that, you can then use Nishi, and if you end your turn within 5 clear sight spaces of an enemy, you can then activate a lawman hero you control that has not activated yet. So yeah, 3 heroes, just boom, boom, boom. Kind of a chain reaction sort of thing. So, I don't know. Yeah, there's something there. Sword Catcher is the next ability. If Suta is engaged with exactly 1 enemy figure and that figure is small or medium, that figure reduces its attack and defense values by 1. Love it. Nice simple power there. Keeping track of it being engaged with exactly 1 enemy figure will be the kind of the key defeater there. We just got to make sure we remember to do that. And they have to be small or medium. Yeah, there are a couple of stipulations there to keep track of, but I like the idea of making a figure that's able to kind of like pick off and assassinate targets like that. So yeah, good ability. And then last but not least, improved counter-strike. When Suda successfully defends against a normal attack from an adjacent figure, that figure takes 1 wound for each excess shield. This is the basic counter-strike we've seen before. However, this counter-strike works against other samurai. And I don't get why Suta gets improved counter-strike and other samurai don't. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. Is it because he's a lawman? I don't know. Like, the only other figure we've had that had this ability before was Karos the dragon, and that just made Karos awesome. That was such a cool little spike of power, something unique for Karos. So I don't like seeing it being used on a different card, and especially a card that is also a samurai. I just feel like this should be regular Counter-Strike. I'm not really understanding the decision here. And I don't know if understanding the decision would make me agree with the decision, if that makes sense. So, anywho, yeah. The stat block looks great. Good for a samurai hero. 2 attack is bad. Oh my goodness, that's really bad. Wow, okay, I didn't notice that. All right, so I guess you're gonna have to try your best to engage exactly 1 enemy figure, and you need to secure height so you can at least get 3 attack down and reduce their attack and defense by 1. You might be relying on that improved Counter-Strike quite a bit to deal wounds with this figure. Anyways, pretty cool for 75 points. Allows you to take a lot of turns with other heroes, and that's cool. So yeah, I like the return of historical figures, and even if they're super complicated like this one is, I still welcome it. All right, next up we have Cainak, Private Eye for Valhalla. Here we go, there's some simple scape. Now that being said, this card is like really stupid, I think. I think this is just a silly card. Anyway, so we have an orc lawman who is a private eye, as the card would suggest here. So this is from, the future of Grut, right? When they're an industrialized civilization. And they have a soul ability here. Cainak's got 1 ability, Pick Up the Trail. After a player turn in which 1 or more unique heroes you control were destroyed, you may move all order markers on those heroes' army cards to this army card. Then, if any of the destroyed heroes was a lawman, you may reveal the X order marker on this army card to take a turn with Cainak, Private Eye. It's just a silly ability. It's kind of neat as like a backup, right? Like if you have an army where you've dumped all your order markers on a hero, this can kind of help save you from disaster, right? Like say you lose initiative and your opponent gets a lucky break and takes out that hero and you had all your order markers on it. You can then move them all off of that card after it's been destroyed, right? And move them onto Cainak. Is this going to win you the game? No, I really don't think so. The idea that this card's worth 85 points to me is laughable. I'm really not seeing it here, folks. Yeah. I don't know. 5 life, 5 move, 5 range, 4 attack at 5 range is great. That's awesome. Defensive 3. An orc hero, so I guess the Chain Gretz bond, but like Pick Up the Trail doesn't help with the Chain Gretz at all. Yeah, because if you're using this figure with the Chain Gretz are already, like, the Chain Gretz have the order markers on their card. They're the bonders, right? So even if they're bonding with Kane or something like that and Kane goes down, you can't move any order markers off of Kane onto Cainak here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing 85 points of value here. Yeah, let me know why I'm wrong, because I must be wrong. I'm not seeing it. All right, next up for 20 points, we've got Blink Dawson, another Vorid for Valhalla. Lawman Vorid, though, which is pretty cool. And love the card art. Looks awesome. Again, simple scape. Love to see it, especially on a 20-point figure. That's what I want to see here, right? If you remember Guilty McCreech from way back when, Guilty McCreech just had double attack, right? Just awesome. Perfect little card. Love it. So Quick Draw 7 is pretty cool. I like this ability. When Blink Dawson is chosen as a target for a normal attack from an enemy figure within 7 clear sight spaces that is not adjacent, you may immediately roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 7 or higher, the attacking figure takes 1 wound, and the attack immediately ends. I have a feeling Quick Draw has been used before. Is this a VC power? I feel like I've seen Quick Draw. I really don't think it's an official Heroscape thing yet, but I feel like I've seen custom figures use this. But yeah, it's a cool ability. It's basically counter range, right? So enemy ranged figures have to, take a risk at, immediately taking a wound. Whenever they try to shoot at Blink Dawson, right? He's got a quick draw. The Waco Kid, yeah. He's basically got Guilty McCreech stats over here, right? Only 2 life, but 5 move, 7 range, 2/2. Yeah, cool. Neat little 20-point filler hero. Nothing really to write home about. You're not going to go out of your way to include this figure, but for 20 points, that's you could do a lot worse. Blink Dawson might just single-handedly make Deflectatron irrelevant. I don't know, right? I feel like a Deflectatron's real claim to fame was that it was a 25-point figure in a meta, like a current contemporary meta that doesn't have 25-point figures, but I don't know, I feel like I'd probably just take Blink Dawson any chance I got if I had to choose between Blink and Deflectatron, so whoopsie, I don't know. Next up, we've got Corvynn the Rotbeak, this one for Revna here. Another Simplescape figure. Love seeing this sort of stuff. This is an undead unique hero beast, which is loyal, and small 3, meaning that this can be used as a familiar for the Dryan wizards, which is really cool. And its main ability here, Eyes in the Sky, really helps with that. For special powers that are not attacks on the army cards of unique, undead, and wizard heroes you control, you may treat figures within clear sight of Corvynn as within clear sight of the undead or wizard hero. When doing so, count range from Corvynn instead of the undead or wizard hero. So basically, you can use Corvynn as the target acquisition point for your abilities. So if Awashia is bonding with Corvynn, you no longer have to be within 6 clear sight spaces of Awashia. You can be within 6 clear sight spaces of Corvynn. And that is pretty cool to me, right? So that can be really scary for your opponent to deal with. As I understand, there doesn't seem there's any range limitation on this. Awashia could be on a water space back in the start zone, bonding with Corvynn the Rotbeak. Oh no, not attacks. For special powers that are not attacks. Okay. So, consume markers on Rakchot, maybe? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, alright, well, that's a lot less impressive than I thought it was when I first read it. Yeah, stealth flying's good to have on a little familiar like this. Stat block's pretty decent, though, for 30 points. 3 life ain't amazing, but 4 defense, 3 life for 30 points. That's a strong combination right there. So, yeah. Okay. Well, let me know, folks, what you think the best use for Corvynn the Rotbeak is at this point in time. Here I was thinking you'd be able to nuke your opponent with with Awashia Twister attacks and whatnot, but no, apparently not. Okay, well, I stand corrected. I think those are the figures that are included in the battle box, but there's also a bunch of ancient terrain, is what they're calling it, as well as shroud shrooms, which are a new destructible object, which I think is a cool addition to the game. There's a lot of powers that reference destructible objects, but there just aren't a lot of destructible objects in the game for whatever reason. So it's kind of neat to see these ones added in here. The young shroud shroom Has fungal force, which means that they count as trees for the purposes of special powers. So Halucia rejoices, of course. And Young Spore Cloud grants small and medium figures basically the ability, almost like the Deflectatron thing. They can't determine clear sight, but they're also not in clear sight of any figure, so that's interesting too. That kind of gives them Thorian speed in a way. I'd love over here on the stat block that the Shroud Shrooms aren't rolling defense. I always thought it was so weird, like with the Castle Door from the Arch-Curie set way back in the day, that it was rolling defense dice, right? Like you're rolling 4 defense dice every time someone attacks the door. How? Why? What is the door doing to block the attack, right? Like, is it dodging the attack? Like, it's just I have felt strongly for a long time that destructible objects shouldn't roll defense dice. That should just have a life counter on them. Now, I haven't looked at the older ones. Maybe the bigger mushrooms do roll defense. I don't know. But yeah, I far prefer destructible objects to just have a life score. Yeah, because, like, who's rolling the defense on that? Like, are you rolling the defense? Does your opponent roll the defense? You know, you get what I mean? Like, yeah. All right, so moving on to the next expansion here. This is the Clockwork Combine Research Expedition, and this one has 1 giant unique hero and 3 members of a unique squad in it. So let's take a look at both these army cards. First one here is for Gimbal, which is this Valorak dragon thing, this Yu-Gi-Oh monster looking thing. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's a dragon, unique hero, scientist, because it's being operated by a little dragon, like a little baby dragon, like a scion of Icaria sort of looking thing, is operating a big robotic dragon. It's kind of silly. I guess it's kind of cute. Yeah. 150 points. Whew. 3 life, 4 defense. Scary business. Hey, that's pretty scary. Attack of 5, 1 range. I think on the surface that looks pretty bad, but the abilities over here on the left-hand side are kind of important. So the first one here is Draconic Engineering. Gimbal starts each game with the Breath, Wings, and Claws treasure glyphs on this army card. These treasure glyphs cannot be placed on this army card except by this power. Gimbal cannot drop these glyphs except when destroyed or with the Ablative Equipment special power. So we do have to look at the treasure glyphs here. Claws one. When this hero attacks an adjacent figure with a normal attack before rolling attack dice, you may choose one figure that is also adjacent to this hero. If the defending figure takes any wounds from this hero's attack, the chosen figure takes 1 wound. After a hero that is not a scientist uses the claw special power to destroy this glyph. When this glyph is removed from Gimbal's army card, remove the arms from Gimbal's miniature. Oh no! What? When this glyph is removed from Gimbal's army card, remove the arms from Gimbal's miniature. No, oh god. Okay. Yeah, okay, whatever. Kids are gonna love that. That's gonna be something silly and fun for the youngsters that want to play a baby dragon in charge of a big robot dragon. Like this is another card that I think is just profoundly stupid, but yeah, I don't know. I love the Gorillinators, so who am I to say? Yeah, so okay, that's that ability. There's ones for breath here. It's a heat beam special attack. Line 6, attack 4. So that's kind of like a Mimring sort of esque attack, just not quite out to the 8 range. Yeah, and when this glyph is removed from Gimbal's army card, remove the head from Gimbal's miniature. Okay. Woof, they're putting a lot of faith in these miniatures assembling and deconstructing. I don't know. I hope that turns out well. Yeah, and then the wings gives the hero flying. Okay, that makes sense. When the glyph is removed from Gimbal's armor card, remove the wings from Gimbal's miniature. That makes sense, yeah. So anyways, let's go back to Gimbal here real quick, because there's another thing on the card called a Blade of Equipment that's really important, and this is kind of like the bug ball thing. When Gimbal would take one or more wounds, you may place a Breath, Wings, or Claws treasure glyph on this army card, that was on this army card, onto an empty space within one clear sight space of Gimbal. If you do, ignore all wounds. So you have the option to sacrifice one of your equipments in order to block the wounds that are incoming, because you only have 3 life here. So just like the bug ball, you're going to try to balance between allowing little hits to come through. So if you only take 1 wound in an attack, you don't want to give up, your breath weapon to block it. You want to put the wound on the card. So you do that. But then if you do get like an attack going through that is going to do like 4 wounds or something, then you sacrifice, your wings or your claws or something like that in order to negate that attack. The interesting twist here is that treasure glyph lands on the board for either you or your opponent to then pick up and try to use. And that's why all those treasure glyphs had that ability, that clause on the card that said that if the hero is not a scientist and they use the special power, the glyph is destroyed. So it's kind of like a one-time thing. It becomes a temporary treasure glyph. This will be silly. I can't say I'm in love with the theming or the design, but I think folks will have fun with this. Yeah. All right, so next up we have the Eisen Expedition, and I love the name here, the Eisen Expedition, because the lore that they've been setting up is that the Eisen X are actually the Vorids from the future after they embrace cyberneticism and whatnot. So here's like a little bit of the progenitor of that name, the naming convention here, the Eisen Expedition. Anyways, this is a Vorid unique squad of scouts. That is, they are precise as well too. 1 life, 5 movement, 7 range. Thank you for that. Attack of 1, defense of 3. Yeah, they've got the 7 range that the Void Glide Strikers should have had. Actually, I'm still of the opinion Void Glide Strikers should have 8 range. I think that instantly fixes a lot of the things wrong with that card. But 7 range is nice to see here, so thanks for giving us that. Expeditionary Force is the first power, basically a bonding power here. Before taking a turn with the Eisen Expedition, you may first take a turn with a Vorid or Scientist hero you control. Add 1 to that movement, or to that hero's move value during that turn. So not only is it bonding, but it's actually bonding that boosts the hero during the turn. I think that's a really cool concept. We don't see that enough in Heroscape, I think. Especially, like, that's a cool way to give bonding to a unique squad, right? Something that you can't spam, but something that, like, makes bringing them along even more advantageous. So, yeah, I dig it. I dig it a lot. And that +1 move is definitely going to help Zed Nesbit, pick these guys up and fly them around a little bit easier with Skyhook or whatever. Well-equipped is the next one. Eisen Expedition figures may choose to ignore any effects from terrain tiles they move onto or occupy other than molten lava. This is fun. It's not really going to be applicable in most games, I think. But, being able to have that option of ignoring the effect of like lava field tiles to step up onto high ground on some maps, that'll be cool. Line up the Shot 2 is the last power here. When an Eisen Expedition figure attacks a non-adjacent figure, if it did not move this turn, add 2 to its attack value. This is basically the only way you're going to get any value out of the attacks of these figures. So yeah, 75 points is pretty steep for what they bring to the table, if I'm being honest. You're really going to have to bring them along with a Vorid or Scientist hero to get any value out of them, I think. That bonding is going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting for the value of the card. I kind of see them a little bit more at like 60 points, I think. Only 3 defense, a single life. Yes, it's nice to have 7 range on a squad like this, but for 75 points, there's a lot of good stuff you could be taking. You could be taking Exiles of the Sundred Sea, right? and that's 4 figures that all have ranged attacks that can all be stealthy and get away from ranged battle. Like, oh, hey Zuko. Sorry. I just think for 75 points, I'm taking the Exiles pretty much 100% of the time. Unless, I guess, I'm bringing Vorid heroes. So, yeah, I don't know. They're cool. They're neat. I like the miniatures quite a bit. All right, speaking of scientist heroes, let's get to the next box here. This is the Crooked Crew of the Clockwork Combine. And what a name of a set that is. I love it. So I think we'll start with the scientist here. I gotta pronounce this name right. Durnipia maybe. Yeah, Durnipia is an Einar, scientist and wizard. Awesome, love that. Anywho, this character, Durnipia, if I'm not mistaken, I remember Roguescaper talking about this. Roguescaper knows way more about the Heroscape lore than I do. But I think this is the wizard, or I guess scientist, that grafted Valgard's arm onto him, which is awesome. It's super cool to see, like, this is a deep cut kind of figure here. And I didn't mean that as a pun. But yeah, it's cool to see these, like, I don't know, these glup shittos kind of make their appearances here in Heroscape. So yeah, anyways, the first ability here is Species Splicer. At the start of the game, you may choose one species from another non-Solborg army card in your army. Until Durnipia is destroyed, she gains that species. Interesting. Does that benefit Durnipia in any way? Maybe some of these other abilities will make it clear if it does. It's an interesting limitation, though, that you have to have that other army card in your army. Oh, wait, I get it. Oh, this could, like, affect bonding and things like that. Yeah, because, like, say you brought along, like, an Eisen army card. Then you could make Durnipia an Eisen, and then you could use, like, Sudema's new bonding ability with Durnipia. Interesting. Does Durnipia have enough, like, other things going for them, though, to make that worth it? I don't know. Let's take a look. So Blood Stitcher 15. Once per turn, before or after moving normally, Durnipia may choose one adjacent non-Solborg figure and remove 1 or 2 wound markers from it. If she does, she takes an equal number of wounds. Interesting. If she was not destroyed, roll the 20-sided die for each wound marker on her army card. For each roll of 15 or higher, remove 1 wound marker from Durnipia. If she was not destroyed, roll the 20-sided die for each wound marker on her army card. Interesting. Okay, the way I interpret that, and maybe I'm reading that right, is that, let's say she has 4 wounds on her card already, and then she goes up to one of your other figures and removes another wound from them, right? So now she's got 5 wounds on her card. The way I read that is that you could roll that 20-sided die for all 5 of them in that moment, right? Because it says if she was not destroyed, roll the 20-sided die for each wound marker on her army card. It doesn't say that she just received on her army card or anything like that. It's just grand total. So yeah, that's interesting. You can kind of use that ability to, like, do a mass heal on her to get some life back. Interesting. She's got an ability on her card that says, I'll do it myself, which kind of reads like a G.I. Joe power. Once per round, before you reveal a numbered order marker on an army card in your army, you may move that order marker to Durnipia and reveal it. Yeah, okay. It just gives you some order marker flexibility. This is not really the card I want to be putting order markers on, though, I think. Especially if you're using Species Splicer, right? Because I feel like you're using Species Splicer to, like, get a species that you can then bond with, you know, a different squad or hero or something like that. So you're probably not putting order markers on this card anyways, or you're trying not to put order markers on this card. So I don't know if moving order markers onto this card is going to be advantageous in most scenarios. And then flying is tucked away way down here at the bottom corner, so a little bit of flying as well too. 6 life is amazing for 75 points. Like that's a really good stat to have. And then the rest are just baseline, 5 move, range 1, 3, 3. Yeah, some interesting ideas here, some interesting abilities, but I don't know if I'm seeing the dream. Maybe there's something weird and techy you can do with this figure, but not immediately obvious to me. Okay, next up we have Guilty McCreech making a comeback here. Lawman now. Guilty or not, here I come, right? 50 points, so Guilty got a little bit of an upgrade there. Same stats as before, except with an additional defense die, which is cool. Still has double attack, that's great. Deputize, at the start of the game, you may place a silver badge marker, I love that, on one unique hero in your army that is a sniper or follows Einar or Valhalla. For this game, it gains the class of Lawman. It's very, it's so wordy, I suppose. Like, sniper, yeah, I get that. That's to get Deadeye Dan in your posse. They had to put that in there. And then follows Einar or Valhalla. That's for the Clockwork Combine thing. And then for this game, it gains the class of Lawman. And why would I want that? I don't understand why I need them to be a lawman yet, so yeah. Anywho, it's cool to see Deadeye Dan getting some support. All right, well, let's take a look at this last ability here. And this has to do with the new giant Doc Ock arm that's on the back of Guilty's backpack now. By the way, I love when Heroscape does this. They all together don't do this enough, in my opinion, which is combining like the tech of multiple eras together. Like we were talking about Valgard earlier. Valgard's like a Viking dude who had a dragon arm grafted onto him. Like, that's so unbelievably cool. That is so awesome. And like Valgard is kind of like a rarity, like that sort of idea of like combining the two things together. Yeah, I just, I'd love to see Heroscape doing it more now. It just felt like such missed potential early on in the game. So yeah, I love this. Anyways, the ability Long Arm of the Law. I love that. Once per turn, before, during, or after moving normally, you may choose a treasure glyph within 3 clear sight spaces and place that glyph power side up on Guilty's army card or the army card of a friendly unique lawman hero. Oh, okay. Within 3 clear sight spaces of Guilty. Do not roll for any traps on treasure glyphs collected with Long Arm of the Law. Cool. I never play with traps on treasure glyphs anyways. I think that's dumb. Anywho, the ability's kind of neat. Very situational. Like if you're not on a map with a treasure glyph or you're not playing with figures that use treasure glyphs, it's useless. Deputize, I'm not seeing the dream there. I'm not getting why that's important. It's fun. Put a silver badge on a unique hero in your army to turn them into a lawman. That's fun. But yeah, I'm just not getting it yet. Does that have something to do with the samurai lawman that we read about earlier? I don't know. Nishi, right? Anyways, yeah, that's Guilty McCreech. Good to have him back. All right, last up we have Takanawa Kha-Re-Ga, and this is a samurai hero for Einar, a mounted samurai, and I love it. So more history kind of being represented here, and yeah, it's super cool. I like this a lot. Takanawa Kha-Re-Ga starts each game with the Blood-Cursed Blade treasure glyph on this army card. So we're getting a few more heroes that start with treasure glyphs. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, it's kind of neat, but it does add a lot of complexity into the game. You just got to keep track of, like, oh yeah, I need that treasure glyph. I need to bring the treasure glyph card so I remember what it does, all that sort of stuff. I'm not a player who uses treasure glyphs all that often, though, so, I could just be that I'm out of the loop on it. But anyway, here's the Blood-Cursed Blade. When this hero attacks an adjacent figure with a normal attack, add 1 skull to the roll. That's awesome. At the end of this hero's turn, if no figure took a wound during that turn, this hero takes 1 wound. A player cannot choose to drop the Blood-Cursed Blade. I love that last little bit of the ability there. Yeah, you are cursed with the Blood-Cursed Blade. So, yeah. So starting with that on the card, and if we go over here and look at the stat block, holy cats, what? 90 points, that's it? For 8 move, 6 life? 3 attack with an auto skull? And 4 defense? Yeah, holy cats meow, that's really good. Yeah, wow, okay, well then. All right, let's look at the other 2 abilities, because, yeah, we got Counter-Strike down here, too. What? Nice. Counter-Strike with 6 life and 4 defense? That is awesome. I mean, double-spaced figure might not be the best to have Counter-Strike on, but 8 move means that you're going to be engaging your opponent's figures pretty frequently, so they're going to have no choice but to hit you with Counter-Strike, or to attack into your Counter-Strike, I should say. That's interesting. All right, so the blade thirsts. Once per turn after attacking a figure, you may move Kha-Re-Ga up to 4 spaces, and then you may make 1 normal attack. What? Okay, once per turn after attacking a figure, you may move Kha-Re-Ga up to 4 spaces, and then you may make 1 normal attack. You can make another attack? Oh. If you use the blade thirsts, Kha-Re-Ga takes 1 wound at the end of his turn. Yeah, okay. Fair, but like, what? You get to move again and take another attack with the blood-cursed blade? That's nuts. Wow. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with this army card. Yeah, this one seems quite strong for 90 points. Now, it's going to be a bit of a shark, right? Like, you're going to want to, like, once you put order markers on this card, you're going to want to continue putting order markers on this card. Kind of strikes me as a Cyprian sort of character, right? You don't want to leave this character stranded out in the middle of no man's land, right? You want to continue killing until Takanawa lies dead. Yeah, but like only 90 points. You only need to do 90 points of damage with this card. Crazy. And then it drops the blood-cursed blade onto the battlefield too, which could be good or bad. You know, your opponent could pick it up and use it against you, but yeah, wow. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, that's a really awesome army card. I really like that one. I just feel like Sir Dupuis is like over in the corner, just like seething, you know, looking at this army card, like, right? Dupuis being like, you know, 150 points and so much worse. It's just kind of funny. Now, a Sir Dupuis redesign with a Chalice of Fortitude treasure glyph that can then be dropped and picked up by other characters, right? That's awesome. Let's get on that, Renegade. I think Sir Dupuis needs the next kind of redo here. Okay, 2 more figure expansions left. This one is called Might of the New Alliance. And despite the name, I think it only has Utgar figures inside of it, so no real alliance being demonstrated here. But yeah, we got a big Morrow thing, and we got some more bears. So I guess we'll start with the big Morrow thing. I have not looked at this army card at all. So what do we got here? Kha-Re-Ga. Okay, so Kha-Re-Ga is a Morrow Hive Lord, and I believe Hive Lords are Nagrub bonding, right? Relentless, that's cool. And 7 life, ooh, big beefy. 6 move, 1 range, 5 attack. Ooh, that is good. Defensive 3, that is bad. 140 points, okay, yep. There's kind of a long storied history of figures being printed with 140 points and being absolutely terrible, so hopefully this isn't one of them. Anyways, they've got one ability here, but it's a long one. It's called Hive Tunnel. Instead of moving normally with Kha-Re-Ga, you may hive tunnel. Choose an empty space within 4 spaces that is no higher than 6 levels above or below her level, and place Kha-Re-Ga on that space. Then roll the 20-sided die for each figure adjacent to Kha-Re-Ga. Add 1 wound marker on this army card. Oh wait, add 1 for each wound marker on this army card. Then roll it. Oh, okay, gotcha. If you roll a 1 to 13, nothing happens. Yeah. If you roll a 14 to 19, that figure receives 1 wound. If you roll a 20, that figure receives 3 wounds. Then roll the d20 for each figure. Oh, okay. That's kind of an annoying way to do it, but I guess. If Kha-Re-Ga is engaged when she starts to hive tunnel, she will take any leaving engagement attacks. Okay. Yeah, so kind of like bursting up from the ground, that sort of thing. Yeah, okay, so a couple of things. Rolling the d20 for each figure is kind of annoying. I almost wish they would have just said roll the d20 once and then see if all the figures are affected or not. That does make it more feast or famine, but it would speed things up quite a bit. Add 1 for each wound marker on this army card. That's interesting. It means the power gets stronger the more wounded the figure gets. Yeah, doesn't seem that especially strong, although, doing splash damage, but it's just not guaranteed. Like, I mean, you're rolling for each figure. I think I would prefer it if it was a feast or famine sort of thing. It would just be more decisive if it was, but this is probably more in line with other D20 abilities anyways, to do it 1 figure at a time. I feel like I'm doing that with the Hellforge all the time, so yeah. All right, let's check out the bears, the Gnarlfur Raiders. They have mighty hero bonding, or I guess I should say they're bears, they're Ursine, right? A unique squad. They are relentless as well too, which is interesting. 2 life, 5 move, 3/3, right? Baseline stats. That's basically as basic as a stat block can get, besides the 2 life thing. Only 90 points though, which is nice. Before taking a turn, this is the Mighty Hero Bonding. Before taking a turn with the Gnarlfur Raiders, you may first take a turn with a valiant or relentless hero you control whose affiliation is Utgar or Jeanne D'arc. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're starting to get into the bonding that is limited to like multi-general bonding, and that's kind of one of the things I didn't want to see in Heroscape. I'm not a big fan of that. I know it's thematic. It plays into the new alliances that they have going on here, so I get why they did that. But again, it's kind of a weird stipulation because it's personality restricted and it's multi-general restricted. Like, yeah, you just gotta, I don't know, you gotta jump through a lot of hoops to make that work. So yeah, not super thrilled about it. The other ability here on the card, though, is pretty cool. Brothers in Blood. Increase the move, attack, and defense value of this army card by 1 for each of your destroyed Gnarlfur Raiders. So because there's only 3 of them, as they die, they make the other one stronger. So when one dies, now your other 2 have 4/4 attack and 6 move. And when the second one dies, the last remaining one gets 7 move and 5/5 stats, which pretty cool. Yeah, I'm curious if there are any good heroes you want to bond with here. I'm not thinking of any off the top of my head, because that's such a weird like Venn diagram of restrictions: valiant or relentless, Utgar or Jeanne D'arc, right? Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what the Gnarlfur Raiders should bond with. All right, and here we have the final army expansion for Secrets of the Citadel. This is the Paragons of the New Alliance. So we get 3 Jeanne D'arc heroes here, starting with Jeanne D'arc. Oui, Jeanne D'arc, yes. Cool to see her. Cool to see a real, historic figure in official Heroscape like this. So yeah, I dig it. Only 40 points really caught me off guard. She isn't at all what I expected her to be. I kind of expected her to be a little bit more like Finn the Viking champion, or like some sort of kind of hero at the front lines. She's a champion and a knight, which is kind of weird. I don't know why she needs to be both, but oh well, whatever. Yeah, kind of breaks convention with what we'd seen previously. But yeah, she's I don't know. Her stat block is like really unimpressive. 2 defense and only 4 life is like really bad. But 40 points, you know, it's not like you're losing much there. She does have a bunch of abilities here, though, so we should probably read those. First one here is Shield of Faith 13. If this figure would be affected by an attack, after attack dice are rolled, so after attack dice but before defense dice, you may roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 13 or higher, ignore all wounds figures you control would take from that attack. Figures you control would take from that attack. Oh, interesting. So that can like block against like a splash attack or something? I think that's what that means. Like, let's say Deathwalker 9000 is targeting Jeanne D'arc, and she's standing next to a bunch of Knights of Weston or something like that. And you use Shield of Faith. If you roll a 13 or higher, all the figures wouldn't take wounds from that. I think that's what that means. The last stipulation here is really cool, though. If you used Shield of Faith 13, this figure cannot roll defense dice normally against this attack. So, yeah, it really is a Shield of Faith. You have to put all your faith in this thing, and if you get a 13 or higher, you know, you're lucky. That's great. If you don't, very unlucky, because now you can't even use your 2 defense dice. So I love this power. I think it's great. I love the risk or reward element, and it's making a die roll impactful, which is what I want from die rolls. I don't want them to be automatic re-rolls. I was getting so sick of seeing those in Heroscape, the newer figures having these auto re-roll things. Like, stop rolling dice all the time, you know, like... I like rolling dice. I really love this game, and I don't want to optimize the fun out of it. But at the same time, I like rolling dice that matter, you know? That was one of the nice things about the original Sudema, is that, like, those rolls were scary, you know? Like, if she was targeting one of your big heroes and, you know, there was a risk of a 17 or higher, it's a scary moment, you know? So Shield of Faith, I like how it kind of recaptures those scary moments. And this one can be a huge boon if you can get it. Her next ability is called Faithful Spirit. When Jeanne D'arc is destroyed, you may place her figure onto a unique... Okay. Oh, she's got a spirit thing. She is like... she's like Finn the Viking champion. While she is on that army card gains the Shield of Faith 13 special power. Heck yes! Yes! If a figure from that army card rolls a 1 to 6 for Shield of Faith, remove Jeanne from that army card. Oh no! Oh no! Oh. The Shield of Faith giveth, the Shield of Faith taketh away. Okay, well. Okay, so some things I like about this, some things I don't. Obviously, I like being able to give Shield of Faith to other figures. That's awesome. That's super cool. Remembering the 1 to 6 for Shield of Faith to fail once she becomes a spirit, that's going to be tough to remember. Because, like, remember, this is still on Jeanne's card. Like, it's not on the card that you give the spirit to, right? The easy thing to remember about Thorgrim and Finn and Eldgrim, right, was that they just give a +1 to a stat block. That's easy to remember. But this is like a special ability linked to a spirit. That's going to be a lot tougher. I think I really like the concept behind this, but I feel like I'm going to forget. I'm going to forget about it in execution, or I'm going to forget about this 1 to 6 thing for the shield. Even if it was just a 1, that would be a lot easier to stomach. But yeah, 1 to 6. Anywho, her last ability here is Reach. If an enemy figure is within 2 spaces of Jeanne, and its base is no more than 3 levels above Jeanne's height or 3 levels below Jeanne's base, you may add 1 to her range value when attacking that figure. This is probably not going to be all that impactful. It's cool. It's a good ability. It lets her use her halberd that she's got here. But yeah, it's actually kind of funny that like such a tiny figure is going to have, reach. But yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I really like Shield of Faith. I think that's a cool ability. Yeah, I think this card is well realized. Next up, we have the unlikely return of CanCon. I need some Canadian content in this game of Heroscape here. Now this is Concan, the Kha-Re Warrior. And yeah, I really didn't expect to see this guy again. Not the pick I would have chosen, I suppose. But yeah, neat. Again, oh, champion and warrior. Oh, interesting. So still a Kha-Re warrior, but also a champion now. So you get to use him as a bonding target for like a lot of things. Champion is one of the biggest bonding pools out there, I think, of just like general class-based bonding. So, interesting. Okay, pretty decent stat block over here. 4/4 attack defense is great. Flying with 5 move is also great. And then 6 life on top of that for 100 points. Pretty solid. And then 2 abilities. Might of Bleakwood is the first one. Other Jeanne D'arc figures you control within 5 clear sight spaces of Concan, the Kha-Re Warrior, add 1 to their attack value if there's a revealed order marker on an Utgar army card in your army. Other Jeanne D'arc figures you control within 5 clear sight spaces. That's pretty awesome. Huge aura on that. Add 1 to their attack value if there's a revealed order marker on an Utgar army card in your army. Okay, so this is definitely playing into the New Alliance sort of thing. But, I'm gonna have to sit down and try to figure out what cards combine to make that good. But yeah, that's a huge benefit. Just a blanket +1 to their attack. All you need to have is a revealed order marker somewhere in your army on an Utgar army card. So that's cool. All right, and then Vigilance of Nostraland. Utgar figures you control within 5 clear side spaces. Okay, of Concan, add 1 to their defense value if there's a revealed order marker on a Jeanne D'arc army card in your army. Interesting. So the old Concan was all about like knights and sentinels, and he was tough to use. It was tough to get him in like good positions and whatnot. This one seems like, well, especially because he's a champion now, he's gonna have tons of bonding opportunities. But he also is like built for a very specific play style of like Utgar and Jeanne D'arc put together in one army. It'll be neat to see how he fills this role, because yeah, these are huge boosts, like just a blanket +1 defense within 5 clear sight spaces. These auras are huge. These are massive auras. So +1 attack or +1 defense. All you need to do to set it up is to have order marker 1 on like the opposite type of army card. Like, so if you're going to want to attack with your Jeanne D'arc guys, right, you want to activate an Utgar one with order marker 1 and then move in with your Jeanne D'arc figures. Or maybe there's an Utgar card that you can reveal the X on. Like, that'd be great, right? It just says revealed order marker. It doesn't say numbered order marker. So yeah, he's interesting. Yeah, he's had a total like role change here. Yeah, I don't know what to think of this one yet. It's neat though. All right, last figure in the box here is Frizzt Galligan, and this character I think is based on like one of the cartoon characters. Like there was like a fish person in a commercial for Heroscape way back in the day. So another glup shitto, you know, really being pulled into the front lines here. Yeah, 35 point hero. So pretty low cost, only 2 life, 2 attack, 2 defense, 5 range, 5 move. Ugh, yeah, pretty rough stats there, but a bunch of different abilities here, and they are a Gallery, and they're a sniper and soldier. Kind of an interesting combination there. Okay, here we go. First ability, Fire When Ready. At the end of your player turn... I don't like that term. Don't know if I've seen that before. It should just be at the end of your turn, right? At the end of your player turn. It's weird. You may reveal this you may reveal the X order marker on this army card to take a turn with Frizzt Galligan. No other army card may take this turn instead of Frizzt. If Frizzt moves during this turn, he cannot attack. Okay, a lot of weird, confusing terminology in there. but basically it's just an X order marker thing to take a turn with Frizzt. There's a stipulation there that says no other army card may take this turn instead, probably because there's some figures that can take a turn instead of a sniper or a soldier out there, maybe, or a gallery, or the Kraken. Is this to stop the Kraken from doing something weird? I haven't really looked at the Kraken card. It doesn't interest me at all. So, anywho, all right. RA1A Guided Cannon Special Attack. Range 10. Yeah, jeez. Okay. Attack 2. RA1A Guided Cannon Special Attack can target only figures that are adjacent to one or more figures you control. That's cool. Figures never have height advantage against the cannon special attack. Oh, neat. All right. I like everything about it except the 10 range. 10 range, that's Deadeye Dan's thing. There's just a few figures in the game that have, like, a special stat that, like, only they have, right? Karos has 9 life. Karos is the only figure that has 9 life, right? That's kind of an important thing. That's an attribute that makes Karos unique. I don't want another figure that has 9 life, right? Deadeye Dan has 10 range. Deadeye Dan has the longest range in the game, right? No other figure until now had 10 range. I don't want to see figures kind of standing, stepping on their toes is what I'm trying to say. Jotun has 8 attack, right? I don't want another figure to have 8 attack, right? like 8 attack is nuts. It's so good. It's so good. Anywho, I guess I can learn to live with this. I really like how you can't just like sit back and like snipe away at random targets. You have to have a friendly figure, or a figure you control rather, adjacent to the target. So you kind of need someone to like be the targeting beacon for the attack. And lastly, Frizzt does not have to stop movement when entering a water space with the swim power. So, yeah, kind of a neat filler figure there. Nothing too crazy. Okay, so those are all the retail figures that are being released here, but there are actually 3 promo figures, so let's just try to get through these guys here. This video's going on way too long as is. So I'll start with Isamu. Probably one of my least favorite characters from original Classicscape. Isamu is a stupid army card, never should have been made. 10 points for everything Isamu can do is just nuts, just insane. And speaking of stepping on toes, Isamu steps all over the toes of the ninjas of the Northern Wind, and I hate that. So, anywho, here's the new Isamu, hopefully less annoying than the old one. So, Isamu is once again 10 points. Once again, this 10-point figure has the ability to crank out giant attacks and can phantom walk and attack targets relentlessly. 6 move. Just nuts. One thing I like about the changes here is that they got rid of the whole Vanish power. Vanish was just ridiculous. Never should have been printed on that card. And they have Eternal Servitude as kind of the replacement here. So Isamu cannot be destroyed by wounds on this army card, except during the end of a round. So basically, once you wound Isamu, you put a timer on his life. Like, your opponent can still go nuts with Isamu and get a ton of value, but only for a single round. Because once Isamu takes a wound, that's it, right? Like that's the ticking timer there. Your opponent doesn't get a chance to like put more order markers onto Isamu later, right? It's whatever they put on Isamu that round, that's all they get to do. And so Isamu's back from the dead, and he's got a bunch of swords sticking out of his back. There's still going to be stupid shenanigans. I hate that this is the only contemporary 10-point figure. It means that you're going to see Isamu all of the damn time, and I'm just not into that. So, yeah, we're going to need another 10-point filler, and hopefully a few, honestly. I wouldn't mind having a couple of choices here. I really didn't like how Isamu 1.0 was like de facto what you chose for 10 points. He was worth so much more than 10 points. and kind of occupied a weird spot. I've got a whole script about Isamu. I've got a bunch of scripts on the back burner for this channel still. I haven't made the videos for them, but I talk about how Isamu kind of fell into like a weird spot where you couldn't make the figure worth like 50 points or something like that because it can still die in one hit, you know? But at the same time, like, it's not worth 10 because it's like too darn strong. It's got way too many abilities on the card and it can do too many things for 10 points. Even like forcing your opponent to like have to attack this figure is worth 10 points on its own, right? Like, regardless of what else is on the card, you know, just being able to distract your opponent from attacking something way more important in your army, that's definitely worth 10 points. So yeah, anywho, Isamu's back. Thankfully not as just annoying as before, but yeah, I don't relish the thought of playing with Isamu again. So a figure that I do find a little bit more interesting is the return of Taelord. And Taelord's rocking the dad bod and everything here, which I think is kind of funny. Now only 120 points, so big cost reduction, because that's like the first thing everyone was going to look at on this card. Is like, is he still 180 points? No, they've actually brought him down here. That's nice. He's got stealth flying printed on the card. Nice, I like this. Very interestingly, he's a gladiator and a warrior. That is really, really interesting. So the Onslaught Aura is the first ability here. Once per player turn. God, I do not like the player turn terminology. I don't know why they're using that now. It seems weird to me. Anyways, once per player turn after another gladiator figure you control, cool, yeah, or any figure you control within 4 clear sight spaces of Taelord the Kiri Warrior rolls attack dice for a normal attack against an adjacent figure, it may add 1 skull to the roll. 1 skull to the roll! Whoa! 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 Okay. That's not one additional attack die. That is 1 skull. That's an auto skull. Whoa! Holy Toledo. Okay, so Taelord is a gladiator, which means you can use him with the old gladiators, with Spartacus and Crixus. And okay, only once per turn. Okay, all right, that's a good limiting factor there. After a gladiator figure you control, or any figure you control within 4 clear sight spaces. Okay, so the gladiator figure thing doesn't have the range restriction. Interesting. All right. So it could just be Crixus up at the front lines, you know, hamming it up. Wow, okay, I'm gonna have to buy more Capuans. Darn it. I love it, but darn. Or any figure you control within 4 clear sight spaces of Taelord for normal attack against an adjacent figure. Okay, yeah. Those are sensible restrictions, right? The original Taelord had the +1 attack, but you could use it for ranged attack, so you always paired them up with like Omnicron snipers and that sort of stuff. Kind of cheese those double skulls. But like auto skull? Woo! Really good. And he's got Deadly Strike too, so when he makes attacks, you get the +1, but you're not going to be using him to attack with, unless you're bonding with him with gladiators. Wait, no, he's a Kiri. Oh, I bet they say human gladiator. Let me look it up. Okay, I looked it up. My wallet is saved. The Capuans do not bond with Taelord here. They have human gladiator hero bonding, so just swing and a miss on that one. But I looked at Spartacus's card. Spartacus says, if all order markers for a round are placed on gladiator army cards, and at least 1 order marker is placed on Spartacus, then all gladiators you control except Spartacus become inspired. Inspired gladiators add 1 to their move number and 1 extra attack die and defense die for the rest of the round. So you actually can inspire Taelord with Spartacus. And then Taelord gets +1 move and attack, which is really good. Oh, and defense, right? But +1 attack for Taelord is really good because of Deadly Strike. So I don't know. There still might be something there. It's silly, but yeah, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Well, interesting. Yeah, I look forward to getting Taelord on the board here. All right, last army card. My voice is just about ready to give out here. So this is Eel F'Fuouh, I think is how you say that, for Volrac. This is a varied, yeah, because I guess there's 2 species on the card here. Unique hero, pirate, and a monster. Pirate is interesting though. That's kind of neat. That'll have some implications there. Unfathomable. Okay. Oh, so like gallery? Interesting. All right. 8 life. Whew. 5 move, 1 range, 5 attack, 4 defense, 155 points. Pretty solid stats. 4 defense and 8 life. Oh, that's kind of nuts. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like 3 defense or maybe knock the life down a little bit would have been better. Because this figure is just stronger. Like that stat block is stronger than Knight Primus Adalburn, and Adalburn was already a menace, right? This one's going to be even worse. At least it's a double-spaced figure, I guess. That's going to help. But all right, let's look at these abilities. Mobile Gunner Special Attack. Range 5, Attack 4. Holy cow, okay. Eel F'Fuouh may attack with Mobile Gunner Special Attack after attacking normally. Oh, okay, interesting. You may attack non-adjacent figures with Mobile Gunner Special Attack even when engaged. Wow! Wow! Oh my goodness, that's going to be quite the 1-2 punch there. Only 5 move, though. It's going to be tough to get them into action, but the pirate thing might help them. There might be some pirate builds that can move heroes around, like the Admiral maybe can move this one. Oh, this is huge. I don't know if that works. Anyways, yeah. Out of Control is the next ability. If Eel F'Fuouh have 4 or more wounds at the start of their turn, they cannot use the Mobile Gunner Special Attack and must attack all adjacent figures, even ones they are not engaged with. Oh, yes. Okay, so... So they're kind of like a 2-stage, kind of like boss monster almost. Like they've got their first stage, and then they're going to have their second stage. And there's not a way on this card to remove wounds. You'd need to use other heroes to do that. Okay, interesting. Yeah, and then they swim as well too. Neat. Yeah. Now, there's something really bad about this card, and it's not... Okay, let's see here. Yeah. Eel F'Fuouh is a convention exclusive figure. Yeah. It will be obtainable in person at GenCon 2026 or on the Renegade web store during any major convention that Renegade attends, such as GenCon 2026, Adepticon 2027, and GenCon 2027. Okay. Yeah. I don't like convention exclusivity. I think that's bad. I don't want that. There's already tons of prizing at those events. You don't need convention exclusive figures. Yeah, knock that out. Cut it out. We don't want that. Yeah, so it's just kind of be annoying that you have to purchase it during certain like business hours, like essentially, right? Certain operating hours. There's only certain moments where you're going to be able to buy this figure. And yeah, that's kind of dumb. Yeah. All right. Well, that is the last of the figures to look at here. There is a terrain expansion set as well too. The Ancient Lands of Valhalla terrain expansion with all the ancient terrain, which looks really cool. And the mushrooms. We looked at some mushrooms before. We looked at the young Shroud Shroom. Looks like nice. Okay, cool. The mature Shroud Shroom. Also doesn't have defense dice. Love it. 3 life on that. Cool. It's got rapid propagation. When a mature Shroud Shroom would take enough wounds to be destroyed, before destroying it, the active player must place a young Shroud Shroom on an empty space within 3 spaces of the mature Shroud Shroom if possible. Cool. Yep. Oh, and the Spore Cloud thing is, it now affects large figures. So that's kind of neat. And then I imagine the bigger one, yep, 4 life, no defense. Love it, thank you. Thank you, Renegade. Thank you. Yes, no defense dice on destructible objects. Please, no defense dice on destructible objects. I beg of you. All right, so this is the Ancient Shroud Shroom. Oh, wow, okay. Small, medium, large, and huge figures are unaffected or cannot do the line of sight thing. And then Surging Propagation. When an Ancient Shroud Shroom would take enough wounds to be destroyed, before destroying it, the active player must place a mature Shroud Shroom on an empty space within 3 spaces of the Ancient Shroud Shroom, if possible. So you're going to want to get a lot of Shroud Shrooms and pop them around. Looks like the set here comes with, well, it looks like 1 ancient one, 1 mature one, and 2 young ones. Is that what we got going on here? Yeah, okay, cool. Sweet. Yeah. Oh, weird. Okay. Huh. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay. The terrain breakdown is very different now. So it's got 224 hexes still, but previously these sets had 5 7 hexes, and then 2 3 hex, 2 2 hex, and 2 1 hex. This one's got 3 7 hex, then 3 3 hex, 5 2 hex, and 10 1 hex. Yeah, I know that's going to make some people a lot happier. It's not going to make me happier, though. I don't like using 1 hex tiles to build with. I just find it tedious. I like using bigger pieces. So the 2 single hex tiles in each set wasn't a problem for me. I quite liked it, actually, but that's okay, whatever. You know, other people deserve to be happy too, so. Anywho, all right, let's call it there. I think that's everything. So yeah, overall thoughts, pretty positive. I love that I wasn't horribly overwhelmed by the amount of releases, although it still took me nearly 2 hours to get through them all, so. Yeah, let me know how you thought this format went. I can already tell this is going to take me forever to edit anyways. There's no way I'm going to have this done. I'm recording this the night of the reveal. It's going to be like a whole weekend or maybe even a week affair trying to get this whole thing put together. And yeah, oh well. I need to do like a podcast, right? So like all I have to worry about is the audio editing, and I can just put that out there. I feel like a podcast would be a lot easier. Yeah. Anywho, actually, speaking of podcasts, if you haven't already checked out Jeanne D'Arc's Dispatch, it's a new Heroscape podcast, or at least newish, right? Than the last 6 or 8 months or something. Yeah, definitely check them out. They're amazing, right? Yeah, Ken and Gordon, they just put on a good show. Yeah, Jeanne D'Arc's Dispatch is the name of the podcast. Cool. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching. Until I see you next time, happy scaping.